So, Umzi, hello, how are you?
I mean,
Um, I want to just say you're the first of my interviews. I'm hoping to interview most of the candidates running for office and just share it across the community. And I haven't actually decided everybody I'm going to vote for, so it's interesting to me to talk to people that I haven't talked to really before. And, you and I know each other a little bit, but let's visit a little bit more. So, how would you introduce yourself to me? Anine Izhikaya, what's happening? How would you introduce yourself to me?
well, I'm a born and raised White Earth tribal member here. Been on White Earth all my life. I've had several jobs here on White Earth. I've been involved in, a lot of the buildings and infrastructure that went into this reservation here over the years, working for a construction company and also working for the roads department. And we hauled garbage here, as you know, for many, many years. 1971, my dad was the first tribal garbage hauler on the reservation. 1994, we sold that business to the tribe, and today that business is still up and going. Other than that, I'm a local person. I'm easy to get along with. I'm very reasonable. I'm fair. I'm, and equal to all my constituents. Anybody on the reservation, actually. I don't pick and choose. I try to be fair and, like I said, equal to everyone that I come in contact with or people I talk to.
Thank you, Miigwech. So, what are you most proud of recently? What are you most proud of the past few years that you feel like that you've been part of, or you're done?
As far as like what? There's tribal government?
Could be.
Well, I pushed and advocated for this new building over here in the Pine Point Village over here. That was never in the planning until I got in office, and I stuck up for this community over here.
That's the renovation for people who aren't up here. That's the renovation of the old school, right?
Right.
So it's a community center now. Yeah.
The new building that's put up over there, the new addition that's been put on the roundhouse over there, and also advocated and got the okay to redo the cement part of the school, the circle part over there was put up here many, many years ago. We saved that and refurbished that. We've done several things here on White Earth. We donate a lot of money to the Boys and Girls Clubs, and it's in the last few years. The only thing I'm proud of is I voted against the Star Lake project, casino project. I hated to waste that money down there when it could be utilized right here on White Earth, and especially now with this COVID stuff happening here, that money would have come in pretty damn handy, I'll tell you.
That was quite a bit of money.
It was.
The millions, right? Yeah. So
close to $10 million.
Yeah, that we spent on, and that was buying some land down by Fergus Falls, right?
Yeah.
For a casino project. Yeah. So so you get reelected, just say you get reelected. What are you really going to focus on as a tribal leader? What's your, you really feel like this is the things that got to happen that you think are super important for the community. What are those?
Well, I'm looking at, right now we're working on some energy independence here on White Earth. Looking at some major solar projects that we'd like to get set up. And, so electric and heat bills are hurting our people here, definitely, And I've been working on the White Earth State Forest. I've been working on trying to get some of that turned back over to White Earth, if not all of it. And I've made some headway on it now, but with this COVID stuff in place, everything has kind of come to a stop. But I think we need to get that land back. It's all within our boundaries here, and it belongs to us. It originally belonged to us, and I think it should come back to us. So those are some of the things that I've been working on.
So I heard energy self-sufficiency and land recovery. That's
Yep.
awesome. Let me just ask you, because there's 200 kilowatts of solar that Honor the Earth and Real worked on with the tribe, and so that's going to come in. If the tribe gets it organized to make that happen. Are you thinking bigger than that, Umzi?
Yes, we are. We're thinking bigger than that. When we had some discussion with our Real there and stuff earlier last fall there, I had some questions. There's supposed to be like 5 of these projects happening across White Earth here with our Real. And one of my concerns was, can we expand onto that? I would like to have them set up so we can expand that solar thing, and make it more energy efficient for all of our tribal members here,
Right. No, I see. But you guys actually haven't moved the project, have you? The funding has been there for a while, but it hasn't. So there's money for 5 projects, and that'd be interesting. That's good though. You want to do this, and then let me ask you, since you were talking about land recovery, what about the Tamarack Refuge? That 23,000 acres inside the reservation.
That also should come back to White Earth. That's federal land over there, and we're a federally recognized tribe, and we have the capability of the DNR, our own tribal DNR, and our own forestry department here, or we could manage that with no problem. It's ours anyway. They should just we should have it back.
So how would you go getting that back?
Well, I guess we'd have to do some lobbying and get a hold of our congressmen and our senators and our, whatever we have to do here, our lobbyists, to get working on that.
Cool. That's good. No, thank you. I just was, kind of curious. Okay. So you guys across the country, across the world, there are people who are political and elected leaders during this pandemic. This is like not the easy time to be a leader. How do you think you're doing, and what's some of your big thoughts being in this position now? What's your short-term and long-term goals, during this time that we don't really know how long this time's going to last, right?
That's right. We don't, and we've made some decisions now. We shut down our gaming facilities. We closed down tribal offices and just kept some of the essential workers working so far. We're trying to protect our people here also. Last week we had a date of the June 18th for a soft opening of our casino, but that decision was made with where we can also push that back if we have to. That's the only problem. That casino is our cash cow, it funds the tribal government and our general fund, and a lot of programs are funded out of that. And it's right now it's tough with this COVID stuff going on, where we have very little money left in our general fund. So
do we have a plan B?
Well,
I just thought I'd ask.
We don't really have a plan B in place right now. What we're looking at is trying to start up some other enterprises, you know what I mean? So we can put some other people to work in different areas. I think it's going to be a couple of years before we get back to normal on the gaming side, and we can't just rely on that gaming for our revenue. You know what I'm saying? We got to search and try to find other things that are out there. That's why we're, this energy independence, the solar project and stuff, that's going to employ a lot of people, and it's going to take some training. And I know we have the talent here on White Earth and ability to do that, So those are some of the things we're looking at.
Thanks, Umzi. Okay, now speaking of that, what's your position on the legalization of hemp and cannabis?
That kind of falls into the last question you just asked me. We need to look to other resources for funding, for revenue. And I have no problem with hemp and cannabis here on White Earth. I think it would not only probably stop some of the opioid problem we have here, but it would also be we could put some of our people to work. We would be able to, you know, have some revenue coming off of that. I'm for that. I actually am. You know,
so you're in support of legalization of cannabis and hemp again, because on White Earth, you know that tribe has banned industrial hemp, and so are you in favor then of permitting industrial hemp, and you're in favor of, you know, I'm not going to say like a process for legalization of cannabis as a, you know, medical or as a.
Well, I'm
asking you hard questions. I'm sorry, Umzi.
I know, and a lot of these questions I know are also, you know, kind of lead back to Winona LaDuke and, you know, a few other people here that are in the hemp business, and, you know, but I'm for it. Like I said, I am for it because I think there's some revenue to be made off it, you know, and we keep some of our members here employed and self-employed also. You know, so I'm in favor of it.
Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, now since youth are about half the population of our tribe, how are you going to invest in the youth?
Well, like I said, we donate like $850,000 a year out of the general fund for the Boys and Girls Club. But with this COVID shit happening here, you know, that a lot of that. We may have to cut back on some of that, you know, and I mean, we're looking forward to trying to do something, but right now our fingers and hands are kind of tied right now. We're looking, we don't have to want to go back into receivership here also, you know what I'm saying? So we've done several things for the Boys and Girls Club, you know, we did that, some of the workers there, the grant writers, they did that biking fund, you know, we got the skateboard park up here in Pine Point. There's one in White Earth. There's one in Nato Wash, you know, and I think we're working on getting one up in the Rice Lake area right now. We put up a few basketball courts, you know, for the kids around the reservation. So we're doing what we can, you know, right now.
Thanks, Umzi. Thank you for talking about that. Now, okay, here's another tricky one. What are you going to do about enrollment? What's your idea? You know, this is what I said. Do you think we should follow the Red Lake example and just like say everybody's full blood? Should we go to descendancy? Should we add all native blood to our tribe? Should we eliminate blood quantum? Should we go to citizenship? You know, I don't know. I'm just wondering what you think. I mean, this is not an easy question, right? What do you think we should do?
I'm kind of in favor of going back on the rolls, you know, like Red Lake did. I'm that way that kind of would include descendancy also. You know, we have a lot of tribal members here and that their children aren't enrolled, and the one parent is and the other parent isn't, and they've been on White Earth all their lives. And I think that, you know, if they get that blood quantum thing changed, those kids could be enrolled. And I'm also in favor of accepting some other native blood, you know, as long as the proof is there. I have no problem with that. You know, I know some kids on White Earth here that, you know, their mother's a Sioux and their dad's an Ojibwe, and they can't get enrolled here because they can't use their Sioux blood, and they've been on White Earth and living with their grandparents, you know, and their grandparents are tribal members here. And I think that's a bunch of BS, if you ask me.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's a very hard thing. You know, who's your people, right? I always think, like, who's your people?
Yeah,
like, I mean, I think we all kind of know who's our people.
Yeah,
you know?
we're all brothers and sisters, whether we're Sioux blood or we're Ojibwe or, you know, whatever it is. We're all from the same hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, cousin.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Now I get to ask you another question that nobody's going to like. Everybody's going to get the same questions, bro. Okay, White Earth tribal officials are paid kind of quite a bit in comparison to tribal members. As a tribal leader, how do you think this should be addressed? The tribal chairman makes $181,000 or $88 an hour. The secretary treasurer $146,000 or $71 an hour. You district representative, that'd be you, $71 an hour for you. But the average person at the casino makes $9.64 an hour, $9.64. So, you know, like, I don't know, like 8 times as much as the average worker, average tribal worker. You know, so what I'm saying is a kind of a big leap. And I know your job is hard. And I just got to ask this question. I'm going to ask everybody the same question.
I understand. I know the casino, I think now the average pay up there, I think is $12 an hour. I'll correct you on that, 9 something an hour. I've been pushing and pushing and pushing for the last 4 years. I've been in office to try and get those workers up there better money. You know, they can go to Detroit Lakes and go to work for $50 an hour. And the tribal council, people think that, you know, we're busy. We do a lot of talking to our federal side, you know, where we need to build relationships with them to help White Earth here as a whole. We had just agreed here maybe 2-3 weeks ago. We're taking a 10% cut in our wage at White Earth, you know, so some of that money can be utilized to help our members out and with their needs or whatever else comes up. You know, there's always something always comes up. You know, I kind of last fall I kind of shut down my travel. I wasn't traveling as often because I only get $7,000 a year in my fund to help tribal members out. Well, District 3, I have the biggest district. I have the most constituents here, and $7,000 is pocket change when it comes to trying to help your members, you know. So I kind of kick back on my travel. Then I can pull some of that travel money and put it back into my gifts and donation stuff so I can help more people. I just feel that, you know, that's part of my job to try to help my people here also, you know. I not only go to the DC and down to the Capitol here in Minnesota to advocate for our people, but that's part of my job also to see to it that they're taken care of here, you know. So I try to help everybody, as like I said, you know, I try to be fair, I try to be equal, and that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a complex situation.
It is.
And, you know, I've done a lot of travel myself. It's not for sissies.
No, I know.
It's tiring, and then you got to get there, and when you're there, you got to be really on.
Yeah.
You know, because you're doing your best. You got a hard job, so that's just a question I got to ask, huh? Yeah,
then when you go out to DC, it ain't like you just go to one office. You know, you spend 3 days out there, and all 3 days you're from door to door to door out there. You know, talking to, you know, the feds out there. So
yeah, it is. It's a hard job. Okay, so the next question: what's your position on the land transfer, the MCT land transfer?
I'm against it.
You're against it. Now, why?
Well, that belongs to all of our people, all the Ojibwe here. You know, I'm against the land transfer because maybe someday I want to go over to Bois Forte, or I want to go over to Mille Lacs over there and do some fishing, or you know what I mean? And I mean, that's our treaty right to be able to move within our treaty here, you know, to hunt and fish and gather wherever we have to do, you know, in any of this property, you know, and I don't think that's right that the land transfer stuff. I mean, they already got a land ordinance number 3 in place where, you know, the reservation has got control over that property, that land anyway, within their boundaries. So why do they have to give it You know what I'm saying? They already have jurisdiction over with that land ordinance number 3 in place.
Yeah, no, that's not easy. These aren't easy questions. Okay, so here's your next one here. Ready? How do you preserve, or how will you preserve Anishinaabe culture?
Well, I'm for the powwows, you know, and stuff like that. I try to save our wild rice here, you know, and we advocate for that. I'm on a wild rice committee, you know, and I've been to the University of Minnesota up here in Grand Rapids, so several meetings. You know, we're trying to save our wild rice. That's part of our culture. You know, and that's from day one has been our culture. You know, and as far as that, I like our powwows, our schools, our Ojibwe language. You know, we need our Ojibwe language back here. Very few people can speak it nowadays, including myself, which is one of them. You know, and I remember growing up as a little boy and up in the Cass Lake area with my grandpa and grandma. They used to speak Ojibwe to each other all the time when they were in the kitchen or in the other room, or as soon as one of the kids would go in there, they'd start speaking English again. And because they were, I guess it was just handed down to them, you know, from the days when they're boarding school days and shit like that, you know. So the language is another thing that needs to be. I'm all in favor of that. You know, I was when I was in a chairman there for 6 or 8 months or where it was there. I was on the MIAC board, you know, and they come up with all these funding for Ojibwe language, and they had a bunch of money coming down there on grants, and they voted divided equally among the tribes that sat on that board down there, which was 11 of them. And I voted against it, not because I'm against the Ojibwe language or the language stuff. I voted against it because White Earth has nearly 19,000 members, and I think White Earth should have got more of that money because we have more members here. So that's part of my culture thing too. And, you know, and just growing up here on White Earth and being around the Native people, like, you know, that's part of the culture also.
Okay. 2020 is an election year, not just for you, but across the country. So in the last election, it was very hard to vote if you were a tribal member on White Earth. You could have voted in, my granddaughter has come. You know, they wanted absentee voting. Not everybody got a ballot. You had to drive to Detroit Lakes. What's your plan for people to be able to vote in this election? How are Indian people supposed to participate in tribal and federal elections and state elections?
Well, first of all, it's a tough job getting them registered. As we all know that, you know, I'm a delegate for the national delegate for the DFL, and they've been after me to try to get people to register, you know, and it's tough, but they should have these. They used to have the fire hall open in White Earth, you know, and stuff like that for tribal members to come and vote. I live in Maple Grove Township, and I know the town hall is open to vote, but this having to have a physical address, I think, is a bunch of crap, if you ask me. I mean, every house, if you live in a housing projects or whatever, every house has got a number. I mean, they can use that number, and you know, as
so how is the tribe protecting people's voting rights then? And also, you know, the other question would be is, like in Pine Point, you vote in a tribal election in the school you just renovated, right? But in state and federal elections, we don't vote there.
No.
And so how can, you know, I know that our tribe asked, you know, I assume because I helped to write a letter, asked to have the Secretary of State change our location so we could vote where we usually vote, right? So I don't know, did you guys do anything with that? Or how are people supposed to vote in this election? Do you, I mean, I don't know, yeah.
To be honest with you, Winona, we haven't really done anything with that. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to work that out, but they used to, like I said, they used to have it at the fire hall in Whitehurst, and I don't know where they used to vote at over here. Did they have a town hall here in Carsonville or someplace that used to be open?
Yeah, there's Carsonville or out on the prairie.
Were those ever open for voting before? Or?
Yeah, not Carsonville. I can't vote in Carsonville. I'm around Lake.
Yeah, I know it, but
it's a complicated thing. But I'm just asking because it is the 2020 election year, and you are in office.
Yep.
And so you're going to have the harder question of how am I supposed to vote? How am I supposed to vote? But thank you. How about this? What are the big environmental problems on the reservation?
Oh, there's over in this country, there's lots of environmental problems over here with all this offit around surrounding the villages over here, and spraying and stuff like that. And not only here, but in Monoman area and west of Ogama there, that's still on tribal land, some of that gets pesticides and herbicides and all that stuff that's no good for us, we have an environmental code in place. Our environmental guy there, he does what he can do, but I think we need to have more people on board on that environmental thing, you know what I mean? So we can keep a better eye on what's going on. One man has a hard time, taking care of the whole reservation here. I think we need to have a team, actually, to go around and try to see what's actually happening, and can we find these farmers? What can we do to them? They have fee land within our boundaries, but still, they're within our boundaries. They should follow the rules and regulations that we have in place. And how many of them do that? I don't know. That would be up to our environmental guy there. But like I said, he can't keep up either. I mean, there's Bijou area, Callaway area. As well as I do, it's happening all over. Within our boundaries here, these farmers. So we're just going to have to, if we get some more financing somewhere, maybe we can, or some money, we can put some more guys to work. Like I said, I think we need a team, to fight this stuff, and we need a good attorney to sitting on our side too, that can, put up a stink over this stuff also. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people interested in it because it's not just a White Earth problem.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a problem in northern Minnesota, and a lot of people are getting sick.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm kind of winding these through, and I'm kind of wearing you down. Now, of course, I have to ask you about Enbridge. I have to report they did lose $1.4 billion this first quarter and just cut their oil production by 300,000 barrels. Our tribe still didn't sign, and I know that Gordon Construction has been a big supporter, but how are you feeling 7 years into the tribe's battle hunt with Enbridge? How are you feeling?
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm going to be honest with you. You know what? I'm a union guy. I was a union member. I never worked pipelines before in my life. I always worked road construction and building construction and stuff like that, And then when that type of work went downhill, my business agent for the union put me to work on a job out in North Dakota. And I was running a hydrovac truck out there on a pipeline. And I never seen nothing like it before in my life. It was terrible. We would hydrovac out an old abandoned line or whatever, and that thing was rust, holes in it for hundreds of feet. The ground. I have pictures on my phone. The ground is saturated, and I bitched and I asked some questions. Wouldn't you know it, I got laid off. And they never called me back to work. So, but at least I voiced my concerns, you know. They claimed it was organic. I said, yeah, it's organic when it's below bedrock, but when it's up here, it's polluting. You know, it was terrible.
Thanks for sharing that. I guess you don't feel pipelines are very clean. Is that right?
No, they're not. You know, I've seen some other ones that look clean, but I never spent no time there to actually, you know. And I also worked at the tank farm in Superior. And when we hydrovac out a line and there's a drip, you know, and the guy said, well, that's not polluting. I said, well, if you get a drip like that, I said, dripping for 60 freaking years, I mean, that's a major spill. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how long has that line been in the ground? Like I said, 60 years probably, some of them. You know, and I didn't last long there either.
Well, we're glad you're back on White Earth. You don't want to stay in those places, Umzi.
Yeah, I know it.
Okay. So listen, I got a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna call myself guilty for talking so much. But I really appreciate your time. And so the next one is, okay, you know, how would you improve relations with county and state agencies? I mean, we're probably better than we were, but someplace, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look down at Mille Lacs, my gosh, that county is so horrible, you know, really bad, huh?
Well, I think White Earth is one of the reservations that has a good communication with, you know, the local counties, and, you know, except for Clearwater County, we have kind of a struggle with them up there and some of their policing and stuff, you know, and, you know, we get kind of thrown under the rug sometimes. We do a lot of their work for them, you know, and then they get all they use our data, they get all the funding, we go without, you know, that's on a law side of it, you know, on the public safety side of it. But as far as, you know, otherwise, I think we have a very good working relationship with some of the counties, surrounding counties here, you know, especially White Earth does, you know. Congressman Peterson has been a very good friend of White Earth's, you know, and he sticks up for us. I have to say that I know him personally, so, you know, I think we have a fairly good relationship with our county leaders and stuff.
Thanks, Umzi. Okay, last one here. How are you going to protect our treaty rights in the 55?
Yeah, I think we need to enforce our treaty rights here on 55 a lot more, you know. We've gained a lot of ground over the last few years with some cases, you know, that have come about and they've been thrown out of court. And I think the courts are finally starting to see our point of view here, you know, and they're finally trying to hold up the treaty right, which has been abused for hundreds of years here. So, and then we have a good man. We have Frank and Joe and those guys, you know, working on that. They're up to date on that. You know, that's where I get most of my info from, is from Frank, you know. So
talking Frank Bebo and Joe Plummer.
Yes.
Just for those who might not know. Hey, Umzi, anything else you want to say? I'm gonna let you off the hook because I took a lot of your time, but I give you a lot of credit for being the first person to do an interview.
No problem. I don't mind at all. As a matter of fact, I'm proud to be here. I'm glad I'm here. I think the people need to know what our representatives are thinking and what's on their minds, and so I appreciate your time also.
Miigwech, thank you.
Miigwech.